Hello, good day. Welcome, everyone, to Two Dudes Talk Tattoos, a podcast about art and science and a bunch of other stuff. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Ryan. I'm doing this recording with one of my, soothing voices this time. I don't know why, but welcome to the show. You can find me online at Rian_Othus on Instagram. It's RIAN_OTHUS at bettertattooing.com or on our YouTube channel, Better Tattooing. My co-host is named Brian Matthew. That's one T, and you can find him at Brian Matthew Illustrations on Instagram, Scarlet Veil Tattoo, and Tailored Fit Tattoo Gallery on Facebook. There's probably a bunch of other places you can find him as well. He's prolific. Just go looking. He's great. On today's show, we have a really nice person, Joanna Comstock, or Joannasaurus, artist who enjoys the dinosaur aesthetic. We get to talk to her about Comicon, geek culture, and I literally get my mind blown because I knew nothing about this. I know if you've been listening to the show, I seem to know a lot of stuff, but I have lived under a rock, and I don't know that much, and I've never been to Comicon. So don't turn off the show. Don't give me shit. Everything's going to be okay. It's just I kind of get hung up on the fact that everyone at Comicon seems to be nice because that's not how we do it in tattooing. You know what I mean? Not tattooing. Academia is the same way, you know? You're just always trying to get that leg up. Publish or perish. Publish or perish. We're going to have a bit of a shorter intro this time. We're going to be kind of just rushing about trying to get stuff done. The entirety of my life has been focused on little babies running around and trying not to pee on the carpet as we're finalizing the last bit of potty training. It's so much fun. So I think homework for this week is a bit of a joke. It's just try not to pee on the floor just for me. That'd be great for you, right? Let's see if we can do that. Let's all hold together and try not to make a mess of the carpet. In other news, I was a guest star on the Kids on Drugs podcast, hosted by my friend Michael. He's great. It was a lot of fun doing the actual podcast. I got to reminisce and go back and talk about some weird experiences that I had done in my teens and 20s. So if you want to go have a listen there, you can hear me kind of get really serious about some heavy stuff and also send a couple PSAs not to do drugs. So, podcast is called The Kids. It's K.I.D.S on Drugs Podcast. You can find it on Spotify, Apple, all that stuff. And if you want to be a good friend to the show, go tell Michael hi. It's Michael Posh, MikealPosch. On Facebook, send him a text, a message, whatever. Just tell him that he's a rad cat. And it was a lot of fun talking to him. Anyways, I'm going to stop talking now. Don't pee on the carpet. Enjoy the show, and we'll talk to you after. Bye.
Jeez.
Wait, what do you do?
Establish trust and rip it away.
What do you do for work?
My day job is a logistics broker.
Oh,
so
cool.
I track shipping containers across the ocean. Is it cool? I don't know.
I worked in logistics
depends.
and stuff for fucking years. So yeah, I
Oh,
know
very good.
what you do. I used to do overseas and stuff too. I worked for
I
Atlas
just
and
thought
Allied.
about joining Space Force and doing logistics. So
That'd be fun, right? Pew pew.
But yeah, so that's my day job. But I am working on getting back into making some artwork because I want to try and do some more events in town instead of just like waiting for Comic-Con to come around. So I'm trying to get back into making artwork more consistently so I can at least like have something
Wow.
to show, you know, whenever these events come up, I'll be ready.
Where are you at? Where are you located?
I'm in Gladstone. It's like a suburb of Kansas City, Missouri.
Because I'm like fucking Gladstone. I'm like, shit, you're like 15 minutes down the street from me. There's
Oh, no.
Gladstone, Oregon, too. It's like, fuck yeah. Dude, you should just fucking, I know where I can hook you up to sell. How many Gladstones is there? Jesus Christ.
It's probably as many as Springfield's.
Oh, golly. Ugh. Yeah, we won't go that far. That's cool. Gladstone, Missouri. Did you say Missouri or Missouri?
Missouri.
Oh, okay. Are you from Missouri?
Yeah, Kansas City, born and raised.
Fucking hell. That's wild.
Wait, there's a Kansas City, Missouri?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
It's the only one in my book. No, that's not true.
That.
Yeah, I mean, it sits on the border of both
Is
states.
there a
So
Kansas
we
City,
share.
Kansas?
Mhm.
Yeah, we share. It's like directly
So
on the
it's the
border, so
same
we get some,
town.
they get some. Yeah.
It's like Sioux City,
Nice.
right? Sioux City in Iowa, right? You get Sioux Falls, like they're right next to each other, right? Just like share that border, driving the state one side and the other. There's a bunch of them.
I do not pay attention to what these people do. I didn't even know there was a
Nav-
Sioux City or Sioux
Navajo
Falls.
Nation, right? Navajo Nation down south is on the four corners. It's in 4 states at the same time. Fantastic. No?
I got nothing for you.
Chicago is by water. I turn off my fucking beeper on my phone. Sorry. Fucking Ryan coming here all shit. I have done over 30 consults this fucking week, dude. I had to do a bunch of other I'm
I just
I'm
don't understand why. Do you do commission work, Joanna?
Thanks, bro.
Not very often. I think I
Why
talked to
not?
you briefly about this before, but like well, first of all, nobody asked me. But or if they do, they don't want to pay for it. But I kind of have a hard time with like making artwork for people based on their requirements for a piece. If they don't give me like enough artistic liberty to kind of do what I want to do, then it kind of sucks the soul out of the piece for me a little bit. So it's kind of a
Jesus.
difficult
So
thing.
you're a typical tattoo artist, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Tattooing
right.
is absolute bullshit. That's fun. There we go. If any of the listeners at home would like to enjoy this, Joanna thinks that tattooing is soul sucking work. And you know what? You're right. I did 30 fucking
That's not what I
consults
meant.
this week. I am so soul sucked. I have spent a full work week's worth of time talking to people, and it's great. I enjoy it. But like after my 40 hours, I want to quit.
I'm sorry.
Quitting's for quitters.
Quitting is for quitters, dude. I don't even have any wine in the house. I could never. I've got like literally water to the discussion today, which is probably good.
Yeah.
Wish I had a fucking glass of wine. Scotch. Ooh,
I don't know who discovered who here, if I discovered Joanna or if she discovered me on Instagram, but either way, we're following each other on Instagram. And I was really drawn to Joanna's work. Specifically, she draws a lot of dinosaurs.
Hell yeah.
And her name is Joannasaurus. So it was pretty rad.
Yeah, I haven't done my homework.
That's okay. I was obsessed with dinosaurs since I was like, I don't know, 2 years old, and it just never wore off. So I'm like, well, I'm just gonna roll with it now. So I love it. I love dinosaurs so much.
It's crazy to me that you're right. People don't really ask me for commission work when like I know hundreds of people that specifically collect dinosaur related artwork.
Send them my way, bro. I'll draw some dinosaurs.
Your fucking artwork is sick as fuck. This is all tattoo artwork.
Thanks.
Like it doesn't make it like you should be doing tattoos.
Yeah, that's what I said. I thought she was a tattoo artist.
No shit. Like this is
And
legit. This is really
Thank you.
awesome. Well,
I appreciate that.
I mean, honestly, I won't. I'll tell you. I'll be like, I don't know if this works, dude. Like this is like this is all tattoo artwork. Where did you learn to draw?
I mean, I feel like I've been drawing like since I could hold a pencil, but I mean, I just never stopped. Most people stop drawing, by the time they're 7 years old, which is why everybody says like, oh, I can only draw a stick figure. So I just never quit. So there's that. And then I ended up going to the Kansas City Art Institute, which I feel like taught me some things. It taught me to be a better artist, I think. But I'm not really doing much with that degree.
What's funny with you saying like this is all tattoo art? Like we first have to establish the fact that most tattoo art presently is stolen from illustration.
No, not the other way around.
Not the other way around. So, but that's why like it has that really distinct look to it, is because now tattoo artists actually understand line weights, compositions, etc. Like now tattoo art is illustration art.
This is really cool.
This is really cool.
Thanks. I feel like I kind of was trying to push it into more of like a tattoo-esque style, because I heard for years from people like, oh, your stuff looks like tattoos. This could be a tattoo. And I'm like, well, why don't I just like lean into that really hard? So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
This is great. Yeah, you should be making flash sheets and hawking that stuff. Honestly, this
I
stuff
mean,
is
I'm
really cool.
super interested in the tattoo industry. I mean, I would love to learn. It would just be like learning a new medium, because I can already draw, and so
Yeah.
I think it'd be super fun to
Uh,
learn how to tattoo. I've been watching a bunch of videos and stuff, but I don't know anything about it.
well, here's one for you. Let's scale this back. So you're in art school. Like how old are you? When were you going to art school?
I graduated in 2011. I'm
Yeah.
33.
Okay. So you've been going for a while. And like when you're going there, we've talked to a few other people before who've done this. And one of the things they say is like when you go to art school, you really learn how to take a critique.
Oh
What's your
yeah.
feedback on that? Like what do you think? How was your critiquing process at your school?
I mean, sometimes, you'll get a really constructive critique where you're like, okay, yes, I can actually see the point you're trying to make. But then there are other critiques, depending on what class you're in, what medium you're working in, whatever. There are other critiques where, you've got people saying like, well, what if the circles were triangles? I'm like, I don't know, man. So sometimes critiques can get a little bit, bullshitty, but like, eh.
Trying to abstractualize.
What do you think that would feel like?
There's no
Yeah.
room in the real
So
world.
you're
for
more like a
that.
foundationalist, right? You want to learn like the techniques. Is that like that's a big thing? Is like how to get better technique wise to create what's in your brain more effectively, or like was like how do you go about your education? Like what were you looking for?
Well, I went to the Art Institute specifically for animation. I had taken a couple of like pre-college courses in high school for hand-drawn animation, and that just made me want to go to that school. I ended up not going there as a freshman because of the cost. So I
Oh
took
yeah.
my freshman classes at community college, and then I was like, you know what? I'm going to be unhappy and regret it if I don't go. So from sophomore to senior year, I went to the Art Institute, and
That's
I mean,
cool.
I don't regret it. I would do it again. I think I would do it differently. Yeah, that was mainly the reason I went, was for animation. So I did learn a lot in that respect, but it
That's
was an
cool.
interesting experience for sure.
So you did all that stuff like when you're going through and you finished up your degree, you got all your stuff. What was the goal after that? What were you trying to do?
That's a good question, because I feel like after doing animation for so long, I kind of learned that that's not really what I want to do. It's fun and all, but I didn't want to move to California or Florida to work at some giant animation studio. It just didn't sound like something I wanted to do. And so I actually took a pretty long break. I was pretty burnt out after college and took some time off, I guess. And then when I came back to it, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do some big illustrations and see what happens. And I felt like when I came back, my work was different than it was, when I was in school. So maybe taking that break sort of helped me come back to it with like a fresher view on what I was doing. So
When you say big, what's big?
I think maybe the biggest thing I do probably like 14 by 17,
Oh, okay, right on.
but I've been scaling it way down
Like
lately.
feet.
Oh no, inches.
My fucking sick, dude.
Yeah.
You see the detail of this shit? That's cool. Right on.
My house is too small for that.
Tape something to the outside of the wall. Fucking people
Right.
driving up. Given the old fucking Hollywood thing. Well, since everything has gone like the way of COVID and stuff, and you have like this degree in animation, things started going remote. Were you ever thinking about moving towards that, or no?
No. Yeah, I really just don't mess with animation much anymore. I have been. It's weird. Okay, so during COVID, I had started when we did work from home situation. I was work from home for like 2 years, like exclusively. Every day I would take a picture with my coffee cup. I don't know why I started doing this. And so the idea with that is, as I was taking these pictures, I got into like 100 pictures, 200 pictures, for each of these days. I'm like, I could make this into an animation, with some sort of like stop motion
Yeah.
kind of software. So I'm still interested in that regard, but I'm not interested in doing animation like professionally, at any sort of studio. I would just do it to mess around and see what happens. But
Okay, so you do this, you start getting back into art, and then
mm,
like what starts pushing you to produce things for sale? Like how does that come about?
Honestly, like
You gotta pay your
Just
bills,
doing
yo.
overseas logistics. If you're doing it by the container, oh my gosh, you guys make so much fucking money.
I mean, not me personally, but
Especially right now. Oh my gosh, get that broker loads.
oh my god, I don't even want to talk about it. No, but going to comic conventions, seeing, the artist alley in comic conventions is like the best thing to do at a convention, in my opinion, because you see all these aisles and aisles of all these different artists that you would have never seen before, and it's all this different stuff. Like, I don't know, just seeing all these artists putting themselves out there, and they've got all these images. I was like, well, gosh, I feel like I could do that. And so it was just like on my list of things that I wanted to do for ages. And I was like, always convinced that, like, oh, my portfolio is not big enough. I don't have enough variety. I don't have enough. I feel like it wasn't enough. I was like, I can't do it. So I convinced myself for a really long time that I'll just work up towards this thing. And eventually I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I don't care. I don't care how small my portfolio is. I have to do this. Like, this is what I think I'm meant to do.
So I've never been to a Comic-Con. That's weird.
I've
never been to a Comic-Con.
What?
First of all, how dare you?
The last few Comic Cons I've gone to, I had the exact same thought process walking through Artist Alley and just being like,
yeah,
why the fuck am I not doing this? I just haven't taken the plunge yet. I've been putting a lot of shit together, and like I sell prints and shit like that, especially at tattoo conventions, but I haven't gone and done it at Comic-Con or any shit like that yet. And then I just had a fellow tattoo artist hit me up like 4 days ago. They were like, hey, I just went to Comic-Con, like C2E2, and why the fuck are we not doing this shit? I was like, yeah, I know. I've been saying it for like 3 years.
How is it set up? Like, what is it like? Because I've been to a bunch of different types of conventions, right? Is it kind of like, I don't know. All I know from Comic-Con, and this is a rube, and you guys can both look at me like I'm on fucking fire, and it's cool. But all I know is people get dressed up like crazy shit, and then they walk around and take pictures of each other. Like, that's all I think it is.
Well, those are just the general audience.
Part of it.
So what goes on at a Comic-Con?
Yeah, that's cosplaying.
Oh, okay.
But Comic-Con is essentially any convention you've ever gone to. So you're just seeing the market array of product selection, essentially speaking. So all the different comic book makers, all the different products that are available in the comic book market. So I think of like Spider-Man coffee cups. You're going to see a booth full of coffee cups. You're going to see a booth full of Marvel shit. You're going to see a booth full of DC shit, et cetera, et cetera. If you don't know shit about comics, then like maybe that doesn't make sense to you, but picture it the same way you would picture a closet convention or like a guns and ammo convention.
Been to both of those.
It's the same fucking thing.
Okay. So you get like, I don't know, like DC and
it just looks cooler
Marvel
and nerdier.
Booth, and they've got like the same people, because like when you go to the closet convention, they always have like the ladies selling doors. So you go and you have like, I guess not the door bunnies, but the comic bunnies or something, being like, hey, look at my comics or whatever.
All of the above.
No
man.
shit. So
yeah, toy collectors, merch collectors, clothing, all of the above.
What is Artist Alley then? This is like, and I'm picturing, and I don't know if this is right, but like this seedy back room, like you got to walk through a bunch of shit to get to Artist Alley. It's like dark. There's people like,
that'd be Aragon Alley.
Buy my artwork, just come in right now.
That's kind of how I feel, but
it's Artist Alley. Oh, I was just gonna say it's more like just seeing a bunch of grumpy ass artists sitting down staring at their cell phone, and you just see a backsplash of their artwork behind them. So like they're not nearly as enthusiastic as tattoo artists.
Oh, okay. So Joanna, in seeing that, why did you think that that's what you wanted to do?
Seeing the type of work that people were selling, I was like, well, not to toot my own horn or anything, but I was like, my artwork is easily this good or better. And if they're able to do this and people are buying it, why am I not getting in on that game? It was like my artwork is good, in my opinion. I was like, I feel like, other people would find value in it if I were to present it. just like all these other people have. Well, I felt like I could bring something that was maybe a little bit different looking than, the rows of, Superman and Batman and anime. It's like I don't necessarily do any of that, but I felt like it sort of like fits that sort of niche because it leans a little bit cartoony and illustrative, and I was like, I feel like it would belong in this atmosphere and
Cool.
not so much like a fine art gallery situation. I was like, what am I going to do with my artwork if I can't do the fine art thing and no one is asking me for commissions? So I'm like, this seems like the right atmosphere for me.
That's really
personally.
cool.
Yeah, there's only like 2 artists that are ever at a Comicon that you can't fuck with. Like they stomp no matter what, and it's Wiley Beckert and Pete Moorbacher.
Oh yeah. Oh my
and
God.
they fucking destroy. But like they literally have a podcast and shit like that all on their own, where they talk about the fact that they like make $86,000 per fucking convention.
What?
They fucking destroy.
Okay, wait, whoa. Now this doesn't make sense. Okay, I know that nerds got cash, but what the fuck? How much do you sell a print for? $1,000? Like, I don't understand how this goes. Like,
it's just the sheer amount of people.
There's thousands of more people going to Comic-Con than there are, like the standard tattoo convention.
Okay, well,
so like picture a tattoo convention, you could have like maybe 8,000 people go through a weekend.
Okay.
If you look at like C2E2,
what's
you're gonna
C2?
have like 32,000 people.
R2D2?
Well, just say Comic-Con Chicago.
Oh, okay.
But you'll have like 32 to 40,000 people go in a weekend.
So a city moves through there,
and they're all spending money.
Yeah.
Okay. So this paints a really interesting picture, Matt. So Joanna, you're going to your first one. You've talked yourself up. You're like, I'm good enough. I can nail this shit. How the fuck do you prepare for that? Like, you rent a rider van and fill it with fucking prints and just say, let's do this shit? Because like, how long is it? Is it like standard like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, pack up and go? Like,
so the most recent one I did was the biggest one. It was Planet Comicon this year in Kansas City, and it boasts like on a good year boasts like 70,000 people through the weekend.
Me.
So I was freaked out, to say the least. I was like, how am I going to get enough stuff to sell at this thing? But I talked to some other people who have done it, multiple years in a row, who have more experience than me, and they were like, you know what? You don't need the amount of stock that you think you do, because not every single guest is going to buy from you. And, if you sell out, that's a good problem to have. So I went through my portfolio. I have prints of the pieces that I have, but I only brought like maybe 10 to 15 copies of each one. I was like, I think that's good enough. And it was, I didn't sell out. I did better than I thought I would, but you just kind of hope for the best. You don't need to like make sure that every single person who stops by buys something, but I mean, obviously that would be great, but you don't have to be so loaded down with stock before you go, because there would be no physical way for you to carry all of that stuff, or it's really not feasible financially. You can't stock up on all this stuff without selling it, you know what I mean? And then you're sitting on it for who knows how long till your next convention. So the less that you have, the better, really, because you don't have to spend so much to get it made.
How much does it cost, like setups? Like, so you did your initial whatever print set that you have, and you buy your booth. On average, with your experience so far, like how much are you, if you're comfortable saying, like, how far are you into the weeds when you start?
My first convention was really little, and so I feel like to get started, buying table displays, buying all of the print stock initially, and purchasing the table itself. I mean, I think in preparation I spent maybe like $500 or $600, and some of that stuff I still have.
That's fucking rad.
So it's more than I feel like paid off.
I know.
That's cheap as hell compared to a tattoo convention. Like my starting cost at a tattoo convention is almost $3,000.
Gross.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know, Planet was so much bigger. I mean, the table alone was like 350, I think. So I was a little nervous about that, but you know, I made it back plus, you know, plus several times over. So I mean, that was a
That's awesome, dude.
good weekend for me. Yeah, I made it
Yeah,
back. So
that's sweet.
it's not too bad. But if I
Okay,
mean, if I were to
there's two
continue
things
to do
going
it,
on here. One, I'm just gonna partner up with Joanna and do the next Comic-Con.
yeah, if we split a
But
booth, it's
two,
cheaper.
are we getting horribly ripped off at tattoo conventions?
Yes.
Yeah, dude, we totally are. Even the small regional ones are still charging you at least a fucking grand, you know?
Gross.
Yeah, it's like a grand a table.
And it's like the small one too, not even the double space, right? I think the least I've ever paid for one was 750, and that was like a ultra small regional place, single booth, and it was like 5x5, right? Like nothing. Just all hi.
I would love to talk to the owner of Comic-Con and be like, hey, what are your insurances? Because I know the insurances and all the backside bullshit for a lot of these tattoo conventions. So I wonder what their overhead is on the backside there.
How big is that?
Anyway, not that anybody here has exact answers for
No,
that.
totally. But what's the cost of, like, let's say a ticket coming in? Let's just do some fucking math, because I am blown away at this idea of Comic-Con and nerd culture. I don't I am like, you guys are freaking me out, to be honest.
It's
Like,
really fun. You should go to one.
I don't know. Like I maybe I don't know. I'll be like all like hi, and they're like, who are you? And I'm like, Ryan. You know, I don't
Well, I
fucking
mean,
know.
you could just go like as an attendee, not to necessarily vend, you know, just to
Oh,
see
I thought you had to wear
what
a
it's like.
costume or some shit.
You don't have to. I think it's more
No,
fun that
that's
way.
only
'Cause then, you know,
cosplayers.
yeah, people are or seem more into it when you're in costume, but you can just go just to experience it, see what there is to see, you know, go to panels,
What's a
see all
panel?
the different artists.
Is that
Like,
where
you
you
didn't go to
paint on?
Wizard World back in the day?
No, dude. No, I was out doing stuff.
He was
I was
like, I was working like an adult.
I was poor. Like I couldn't. Yeah, no. Like the Comic Con that I went to is just going down to the corner comic book shop and being like, "What's up? You guys get this comic book called Spawn?" And they're like, "Yeah, first one's over there." I was like, "Cool."
Yeah, so it's
Bought
that,
it.
but like times 100.
And I have a mental picture of like the dude that sold it to me too, and it's like so Portland, you know what I mean? Like it couldn't get any more just basically like reggae on this, you know, on the stereo, and the dude's kind of muddy. He's sitting there just like gives you a dirty look when you come in, and then fucking turns away. And like I don't know why I'd want to go to a fucking 75,000 person like that thing. Or it's a different now, I'm guessing, right? It's like everyone's excited to be there and not
Yeah,
just
I mean,
oh.
they want you to buy things, you
Wait,
know.
yeah, you got to imagine that like Comic Con is like a product launch.
Oh God, like a CES type thing? Oh God.
Yeah, if you were to think about it,
Oh,
right, they're going to be showcasing all the new books coming out, all the new artwork,
okay.
all the new toys, etc.,
Lights,
etc.,
flashing,
etc.
loud sounds.
So essentially,
People run around in costumes, fucking waving like glowing sticks at each other.
Yeah.
Fucking loud music. Bon Jovi or something, right? Just fucking rocking.
There's actually not a ton
I
of
don't know where
music,
Bon Jovi
but
came from.
yeah, lots of people, lots of nerds.
So I'm wondering, because I remember some conventions like fights breaking out, alcohol being there, especially like a tattoo convention, dude. People doing freaking toilet water, you know, toilet water powdered cleaner on top of the things, and just getting crazy, you know. And I'm wondering, is there like a drug abuse problem at Comic-Con with the nerds? They're like fucking doing rails in the bathroom and stuff. They're just like, let's fucking psych this up, boys. Let's go look at Spider-Man mugs. Like I don't.
It's like it's a thumbnail compared to tattoo conventions.
Oh, okay.
Right, because we got to look at the countercultures happening there, where like essentially you can picture that a tattoo convention is just a room full of felons.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically.
And a Comic-Con is a room full of like nerds that have jobs.
Okay. The real counterculture. That's like today's counterculture, right? Like it used to be like, oh, and I'm mean and I wear an affliction shirt and I look like a dipshit. And now it's like the counterculture is like, well, actually, I make six figures and so you can just bite my ass. And that's like the new rebel thing, is like being successful versus being a dirtbag. Like that's in my mind. I'm just like picturing, you can't tell me not to dress up in this crazy light up thing that flies or something. I don't know how fucking elaborate this shit gets. But I just like, everybody's seen a picture of somebody in there and they're like they had this like visor thing and it was like on fire or something. And then the wings came out of their back. I'm like, how the fuck did they make that? They're like, oh, I made it myself. What?
Dude, the amount of money that people make on cosplay alone is just staggering.
Wait, they make money? I thought you spent money.
Yes, somebody has to make that shit. There's people that make those costumes for other people.
Wait, motherfuckers just aren't at home doing this shit? Wait, hang on. Fuck this. There's an industry for this? That's wild.
Yeah, it's called Etsy.
How the fuck am I not doing that? Do I have an entire machine shop? I could be making this shit.
Do it.
Could be, but
I still have to be all real.
You decided to do tattoos.
I want to be a writer. Now our commercial break. We got a sponsorship spot from Dragonhawk.
Yeah, I'm totally down for that. Actually,
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it's so fucking funny that it's Dragonhawk.
I thought you would have had a good laugh out of that, right? I was thinking about hitting up some other machine builders and stuff, and I was like, no, we got to go like, let's lean into this, right? Like,
no, I have no shame in that, dude. I tell every fucking tattooer, every single person I know, I was like, fuck yeah, Dragonhawk, dude. Spend $100 on a fucking machine, it lasts a year, you throw it away and buy a new one. Fuck it.
Gives a shit, dude. Okay. So I've got this. So okay, let's walk through like what's the emotion, like the first day that you go through. I'm really interested in your actual experience the first time that you did this. I mean, it's a smaller one or whatever. When you set up, and then like what happens? Like in tattooing, they just open the doors.
How stressed were you the entire weekend?
I mean, the first one I did was on a college campus, so it was quite small. Yeah, not a huge deal, but it was my first time. I was pretty nervous, like remembering to eat, because like seriously, because you're there all day, right?
Yeah.
And you're just like
just have a beer every once in a while.
You're so wired and nervous. Then you're just like, oh shit, it's been like 5-6 hours and I haven't eaten yet. Like, got to take care of yourself. But it's really interesting to see, people outside of your friends and family tell you that your artwork is good. It's very validating and satisfying, because you're like, well, I actually am good. Like someone else like appreciates this thing that I spent, all these hours making. So it makes you feel really good. It's kind of a huge ego boost, honestly, and then when they decide to buy it, you're just like, yes, I've done it.
Did you ever have somebody come up and just be like, I don't like this shit, and just like not be?
No.
Oh, dude, nerd culture is why aren't we all fucking nerds? Why don't nerds take over? This doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, you can tell if somebody doesn't like it though, or they're not into it. They may just like glance and walk away. They won't say anything to you. Like,
shrug.
Yeah, I mean, there are those people, but no one's gonna outwardly be like, well, this sucks. Like no one's gonna do that.
I'd be that guy.
Yeah, that'd be so funny. Let's walk up. I give it a 3 and just fucking walk off. Like, what out of 10? Fucking. That's wild. So scared. People come in, but people start buying stuff. You're interacting. You feel like more confident. And then, like, what as you start scaling these up and getting to larger and larger venues, is it just a repeat of that first day?
Kind of, so that first one, I think was only 1 day. And then the next convention I did was 2 days. And then I've done like some pop-ups here and there, but Planet was 3 days, so it's getting larger and larger, longer periods of time. So you kind of have to be prepared to not like do much else, which is kind of weird for me at Comicon, because I'm used to going and like being able to walk around and visit with friends and, take pictures and go to panels and stuff. You can't really do that if you're vending at your booth, because you want to be there. Even if you have a helper, you want to be there as the artist to interact with the people, because you have the story and the insight of what it was like to make the piece and everything else. You want to be talking about it. You want to be the one there interacting with people who are interested.
That's
so
cool.
It's weird though, spending that amount of time talking about yourself and your own work, like constantly for hours. You're like, am I this interesting? Like,
I
like,
avoid it at all costs. The moment at a convention, if somebody walks up and goes, "This artwork's great," I was like, "Thanks," but the guy that makes it's an asshole. And then they just give me a crazy look, and they don't know what else to say. It just derails conversation. They just get confused.
I'll tell everyone about like the time I was born up until now. I'll hold people's ears for hours. We'll do the pew pew, you know, the conventions. Everyone likes me. And I can't hold. I know that feeling of holding it for 3 days where you gotta be turned on. And I like when I do conventions, as soon as stuff starts to break down, I'm like looking at the booth next to me and I'm like, go fuck yourself. And I'm just done with it so severely. I'm ready to be on the road and going. And it's like a 24-hour disconnect after that. Where I'm like, no, I'm not doing anything. Like, I don't know if that translates. Are you exhausted when all that shit's done?
Oh yeah, I mean, the next day, like a Monday or whatever, like take off of work, just do nothing that day because I'm not so much of an extrovert, so it just like really takes it out of you, even though you're not like doing physically a lot, but you're talking a lot. You're, like you said, constantly on, and so you just need like a day to decompress, especially if you haven't gotten sick. Like if you've gotten sick, then you're screwed for the next several days. But con crud is a real thing. I don't know, like your table neighbors kind of are your advocates through the weekend. You're rooting for them, they're rooting for you. It's all kind of like we're all in this together vibe. And so at the end, you're like, I hope I see you again. Like it's fun to hang out with somebody who is excited to be there, just like you are. So but then when you get home, when you get in the car, you're like, oh my God, I'm done.
Hearing your outburst, Ryan, is the funniest shit. You're just like, what?
This doesn't make any sense.
This is the craziest shit I've ever heard.
Dude, I personally I've worked multiple auto shows. I've worked some boat shows, RV shows, like working in them, right? I've built and set up a few of them. I've been to like trade shows. I've done a ton of stuff over like, the past 25 years. And never once did I look at the booth next to me and be like, good luck. I was always like, suck it. I hope you guys fucking fail. This is fucking, I'll paint like a fucking Bruins symbol on my stomach. I'm like, Boston. Like, I don't fucking care, right? Like your team sucks. And you guys are just like I am like floored by the idea of this positive community because it's so like especially American. You know what I mean? It seems it's like all of a sudden you're walking into the idyllic form of like a mental image of Canada or Sweden. You know what I mean? But everyone's in dressing. It's like not like an SCA thing even. Where you go in and they're in medieval garb and you don't say thou and they throw a turkey leg at you. Like this is fucking rad. I love it. So it's like it leads me to this thought. I'm like, where's the underbelly, the seedy underbelly of Comicon? Like the fucking sexism and racism, it can't be this fucking positive. They have to treat people like shit somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, there are people like that. You do see instances of that, and it's unfortunate, but when you have a crowd of people that's so big, I mean, there are bound to be assholes, going around and just being shitty to each other. But
maybe that's the other side there. Like if you're looking at the crossover between this to tattoo conventions, right? And in tattoo conventions, people are specifically the most just them that they could possibly be. So if they're a piece of shit, they're just a piece of shit. They're not gonna hide that at all.
Nah.
They
come in, take off their pants, and just let it go. Yeah.
Right. If they're there to fuck shit up, they're just gonna get shit faced and fuck shit up right out the gate. They don't give a fuck.
It's like I literally had a dude set up a line on one of my tables once. Oh. He's like, I had this. I'm like, no. Nice. He's like, yeah. He's just 2 beers in each hand. Fucking hit a hooter. Yeah. Shirts off.
The amount of shit that we get away with at tattoo conventions and shit like that, like the amount of damages that can be done because of tattoo conventions and shit that nobody pays any repercussion for. it's just mind blowing if you actually look at the numbers for some of that shit. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But once again, we're two totally separate worlds of people, and it's crazy to see.
I'm trying, and it's not. It's like two puzzle pieces from two different puzzles, but you don't know they're from different puzzles, and you're trying to put it together. And I'm just pounding it on the fucking table, trying to get to work, and it's not. They're not going together, and I don't know why. Like you've short circuited my brain. Anyways, this is fun.
I mean, Comicon is typically like a very like family oriented, like all ages situation, and so like the general attendee is not going to be like doing lines of cocaine and pounding beers.
Hey kid, you want to
hit? It's crazy, but I've been to a couple of quote unquote family oriented tattoo conventions, and they're still not family oriented tattoo conventions. They're still fucked.
No, it's just messed up. The first thing you see when you walk in every tattoo convention, day 2, is someone is naked. It just has to be.
Right.
As you walk through, somebody's getting tattooed that's naked, or it's the tattooer who's in the banana hammock the whole fucking time.
Right. The absolute best thing about tattoo conventions, no matter what, is day 2, everyone's hungover and pissed off.
Ever.
It's the quietest day at the convention because when you walk in, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. Everyone's hungover. There's no music playing. It's the funniest shit on the planet.
You can always tell.
And then by about noon, everyone's drunk again.
Starts to pick back up. You can tell who's come to work. It's not even people who have their head down and their fucking headphones on who are just trying to drown out the really shitty fucking 80s music, and they're just like trying to work and focus. They don't fuck something up. They're double tapping, the tattoos are going, oh, fuck that. Oh, shit. It's the people who are sitting there actually talking to people walking up. Hi there, do you have oh hi, how are you doing? Yeah, you can grab a sticker, thank you very much. You like see like look down and people are talking, they're just like fuck off.
Look down the row and everyone's chugging Pedialyte. These are convention survival tactics.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe surprisingly my experience was different just because like the people around me are all sort of like small potatoes like me. So I don't know how it would be like being next to someone who's like a professional comic artist who actually like works for DC or something. I don't know if they're more jaded or if there's like I
feel like they're super chill.
Be next to like Jay Lee, you're like, hi Jay. He's like, hey.
I mean, like think about like Todd McFarlane and those dudes. They're a little cocky, but they're not like way the fuck out there.
If you're worth $500 million, you can probably be cocky if you did it off of drawing with a fucking Sharpie marker, right? Like
that's what I'm saying. Like they're a little cocky, but they're not usually like fucking psychopaths. There's a difference. Tattoo artists can be fucking psychopaths. So you're not gonna run into that issue at a Comic-Con,
It's so weird.
Not so much.
It's so weird. I just like I don't like I'm painting such a different vibe like in my brain. Like I like the initial thought when you guys were talking about like the artist alley, like it was like dark, like they don't even have lights on. They're just like, fuck you guys, like, good luck with your art. And you like had to set up like little table lamps. You're like, look at my stuff, hey look, do you want to buy something? And now it's like
sometimes
no shit.
I mean, there are like horror stories that go around the community like this con had such like a shitty artist alley, there wasn't any lights, or I was in this back corner with no traffic. Like placement actually plays a pretty big role in how many people are going to pass by you and your chances of being successful at the convention. Like if you're in a back room, a back corner, which does happen, no one's going to find you and you're not going to make sales for the weekend. It's going to suck. But with Planet, like it was pretty large and everybody's sort of like in the central location. So I mean that seemed to work out for me, but I haven't been to a convention where it's just been a nightmare yet. I mean, my second one was slow because it wasn't a very well publicized convention. And so like, yeah, there wasn't a ton of traffic, but I wouldn't say it was like, terrible conditions or anything. It was just not a lot to do and not a lot of attendees. So there are issues, regardless of where you're at or what convention it is. But my experience so far has been okay.
That's
been pretty
really
good.
cool. Well, how many have
So,
you gone to and not vended?
ooh, um, a lot.
A lot.
I
Okay,
would
so
say that I usually go like to Planet or to maybe like one or two other smaller ones. So maybe like once or twice a year for the past, 12, 13 years.
that's what. Well, I mean,
Very
still,
small.
you've got like about 50 that you've been in under your belt. I've done fucking zero, dude. So like, I mean, let's say as a spectator, like you're going through because you can like teach yourself with this, right? Like if you walk through, have you ever ran into somebody at a Comic-Con? Because like in my mind now, and I think this is the pendulum swing from everyone's a fucking prick like a tattoo, convention to now it's basically heaven. This is like when I was in Catholic church as a young lad, like this is what they were talking about. I've got to bring that pendulum swing back. Like you ever walking through and just like that dude's a dick, like it didn't work, or this artist, like why would you bring that type of art here? Like anything like that.
I mean, my personal opinion, sure. I mean, I can walk around and be like, golly, like I don't know how this person is making sales off of this stuff because it's not
You got a name?
not looking so hot.
Furries.
No names.
They're just appealing to the furries.
Yeah, or
Wait.
just like tons and tons of fan art. Like I thought maybe I wouldn't be able to do it or be successful because I don't have a ton of fan art. I have some.
What's
but
fan art? I guess it's drawn on
fan
fans.
art's so fucking overplayed.
It's artwork of already established IPs. So like if I were to draw images of
art, I gotcha.
Yes. So I mean, I have some of that, but I wanted to, lean it more towards my original stuff. So there are like people in Artist Alley who, yeah, that's all they have is just a bunch of fan art, and maybe it's only like okay, but it doesn't even matter because you're going to find your customer at Comicon. There is something for everybody. Every type of person is there. And so even if you have only fan art and maybe it's not even that good, if it's better than what the person buying it could do, they're going to buy it. So it's almost like you can't go wrong, really.
Okay. So this is just an idyllic place. Okay, so let's move past me trying to
Right?
rationalize shit in my head because that's what I'm trying to fucking do here. I'm trying to find a flaw with it, and so far there doesn't seem to be any. And I'm good to let that happen. Maybe the geeks and the nerds of the world have got it figured out. And esports are a valid sport. I don't agree with it personally, but maybe it is. I don't personally like sitting there watch somebody play Minecraft, but what can you do? So advice for people who maybe want to do what you're doing, like, so you have done it a couple times. How would you, like, if somebody came up and was like, hey, Joanna, like I'm looking for help, like what would be the first thing that you would tell them that they need to prepare for?
That's a good question.
Oh my God, Joanna, we're going to talk later. I just came up with the perfect idea on how to split a booth.
I'm down.
Sorry, not to derail his
No, it's
question.
I think my advice would just be to trust yourself more than you think you should, because you know how confident you are in your artwork. If you know that, like, hey, I'm ready to do this, just do it. There's the only person holding you back is yourself. So I mean, if you are confident in your work, someone else is going to like it. It's guaranteed. So
that's fucking cool.
Just go for it. It doesn't matter how few items you have, how small your portfolio is. If you feel like other artists are better than you, because I mean, there's always going to be somebody better than you. Yeah. As long as you just trust yourself and stay true to your vision for your booth or your artwork, just friggin' do it.
That's fucking cool. Now, since Brian jumped on there, dude, we got to talk about your booth thing, dude. I have like 10 more questions. I came prepared. So, but like, what's this fucking booth idea, dude? Because now I'm chomping at the bit.
Oh, I can't put it out on open air, or some other asshole's gonna steal it. But
you ever read about
my artwork
fire
in
dancers?
General is pretty like dark, and Joanna's is actually kind of like bright and colorful. So there's a cool crossover waiting to happen here.
Yeah,
definitely.
Joanna's
I have a much better vision in my head that I'll have to show her later on, but it could be really cool.
Well, I guess wait in suspense till you post the first pictures on your social media. God,
Exactly.
Anticlimactic as fuck.
But surprisingly, I saw better sales from my tattoo conventions after I stole everything from Comicons.
Really?
So went to Comicons, observed them, saw how everybody was selling artwork. I was gonna say stealing artwork, but saw how everyone was selling
that
and
too.
all this shit. And then essentially me and Cassie put together a plan as to like, how do we take what these guys are fucking doing and then put it into what we do? And we started setting up our booth, like Comic-Con booths, and immediately started selling prints, cups, merchandise, all kinds of shit, just selling off the table the entire fucking weekend, and it was amazing. It was just arranging shit and having it shown correctly, and then actually being able to like talk about the artwork itself. You know, sometimes I'd obviously be tattooing and shit like that, so Cassie would have to take over. But just arranging shit in a specific way helped us get way more sales. And it's like the people that do Comic-Con are accidental geniuses with sales.
Yeah.
And that's all it really boiled down to, especially after learning the numbers that some people were making at these fucking shows just based off of print sales is unbelievable.
That's fucking wild, dude. Yeah, you'd love to see it like at the tattoo conventions. Everyone has these fancy banners and everything is uniform. It's almost like 1982. Like everyone is just the same, some Orwellian fucking nightmare. I used to come in and like I'd have a piece of paper and I would just like write my name on it and tape it up, and I take all my stuff and I just dump it on the fucking table. And people come up and be like, "Is this your card?" I'm like, "Yep." My card used to be my driver's license. Yeah. It was pretty cool, and it's just like, whatever.
See if I can find some of my booth setup photos and send them to you so you can check it out.
Yeah,
there's such a difference between like what I did 5 years ago at a convention versus how I set up for a convention now. It's just so fucking night and day.
Bro, are you sure you want me to fucking set up with you for this upcoming one? If you're gonna come out, I'm just gonna have a fucking confetti cannon with cards and just go poof, and just shoot them over everyone. Let it rain.
That'd be hilarious.
Fucking challenge accepted. There we go. I'm writing that down as a note.
Confetti cannons.
I'm actually, that would be fucking hilarious to bring that to fucking Arkansas.
Joanna, do you have any plans for the rest of the year, like art wise and stuff like that?
We have First Fridays down in the Crossroads in Kansas City. That is just like this huge outpouring of artists setting up in the streets, and all these galleries are open, and it's like a huge thing with food trucks. And every First Friday they do this, and I've always been interested in setting up there. And so I finally figured out how to do that. So I think I'm going to be doing that the first Friday in September. Their peak season is like April to October, and I'll be out of town in October. But yeah, I'm going to try and set it up for September here in a couple weeks. So that's why I'm kind of like cracking on stuff pretty hard in these next couple weeks here to get ready for that. And then hopefully there's some like Halloween kind of pop-ups coming up at some local shops or whatever that maybe I can take advantage of that. But other than that, I don't have any set plans so far. I mean, a lot of stuff is already passed. So like I can get prepared to apply for like Comic-Con next year. The Oddities and Curiosities Expo, I missed the cutoff for this past one. So I think applications go live again, I think on Halloween. So I'll be ready for that so that I can do more next year.
That's not cliche at all. Oddities Expos. Jeez.
I got a couple more questions for you, and then we do this one with people where we do a rapid fire at the end. I'm going to hit you with some rapid fire stuff, but
okay.
How about this one? Like, I'm kind of interested because you said like there's like this collective thing where like everyone's kind of together and there's like support amongst people. Have you ever had people like come up and ask you for a critique on their artwork, or have you ever gone there to look for something like that?
Nobody's asked me for a critique. I mean, maybe like a little kid will show me like a drawing that they did, and of course
that's fucking cute.
It is pretty cute. So you have to be like supportive and be like, oh my gosh, you're so good, and I'll keep practicing, stuff like that. But artists next to you, you can peruse each other's works and talk more candidly about the pieces that they have available in their portfolio and stuff like that. But it's not something that I've sought out at Comicon. I know that you can bring your portfolios out to like some like pro artists who are there, doing signings and whatever, and they'll take a look at your portfolio, but that's not anything that I've done.
Too. Like if you bring it up, are they like $50 and they'll look at your shit, or is it like actually polite or something? I don't
know.
Oh, that's kind of fun. I just wonder if I should just like bring one and just like paint it with like root beer and ballpoint pens, and then just like bring it out and see what happens.
I mean, you could. Do what you want.
I don't know why. It's just like this whole community aspect thing is just like really interesting to me. That and then fucking like 50 to 100,000 people moving through a small, like I'm just like it's almost like cattle, just like walking through this stuff. How could you spend a weekend doing that, surrounded by all those people? Like I'd figure everyone would be getting drunk, partying, like it's like Mardi Gras, but
I think that happens in the after hours, like at the hotels. Because people come in from out of town to go to these things, and so there are hotel parties, and I'm sure people get pretty trashed in hotels after hours. But when you have to be on and you're selling, like you need to have your wits about you so that you can make the sale.
You got any other questions, Mr. Brian?
No, everything else now is going to be top secret.
Okay, that's cool. We'll leave that. All right, so we've come to the end of our show. This is where we're going to ask you a couple rapid fire questions. I tried to do 10 before, but it gets fucking weird because when you're put on the spot, I find people go, and then they forget like simple things like what color your shoes are. So, all right, so question 1, what is your favorite food?
Cuban food. I love Cuban food.
Cuban food? You like spicy food?
It's not typically spicy. I'm talking like empanadas, croquettes, plantain chips. Stuff like that.
Okay.
My dad is from Cuba, so I grew up with that food, and it's awesome. We don't have any Cuban places in Kansas City. It's just a tragedy.
You see how many we have in Portland. I mean, we probably have 1,000, but I'm so fucking white. All I do is just eat potatoes and meat. Spices to me are pepper and salt. All right. What's your favorite movie?
Oh no, this is the worst question. I'm a huge movie buff. Obviously I love Jurassic Park, but I also love
facial expression was like, duh. Fucking
got stuff. But I love Back to the Future, The Truman Show. I love movies.
Oh, so you could do like a top 10 list that might take you. I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You're just a big Spielberg fan, is what you're saying.
I guess.
All right. Favorite place to vacation?
I love Chicago, actually. It's a really great food town. So
Why?
I mean that's the best place for food. That's the only reason that I want to travel is for food.
Literally, that's the only reason I care to go back and visit. It's just the best food.
Yeah.
You can compare it to anywhere else. New York, Portland, etc. No one beats Chicago when it comes to food.
Oh.
That's why I love it.
But everything else about it sucks.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't. Chicago's fucking fine. It's great. They got good public transit. Winters are a little rough. Summers are beautiful. I mean, you're fine.
Getting stabbed and mugged on the sidewalk. That's cool too.
You get those diagonal lines through the city you just avoid, right? You just move up 2 blocks, you're fucking fine.
There's pros and cons.
Okay, so what's your favorite brand of car?
Bro, I don't know anything about cars.
Perfect.
I don't know.
It's oil or acrylic?
I use acrylic, but I prefer oil.
Oh, fuck yeah. Okay.
So why do you use acrylic?
Why do I use acrylic?
Why do you use acrylic? Yeah.
Because I use acrylic paint pens, which are closer to like the material that I normally use, like markers and pens and stuff. So the paint pen was kind of like a transition into paint without really learning how to paint or buying all the paint stuff.
Get the last question here. If you could go back in time and not paint or draw one thing, what would it have been?
Not painted?
Yeah. What's the
That was
one
a
thing
bizarre question?
What's the one thing you
Oh.
wish you would have never created that should have never graced this planet?
There was a weird series that I did in community college as a freshman where it was an adult figure, but going through stages of life. So it was like an adult in the womb. And I think that imagery is very strange. I don't know that it needed to
I like
come
that.
to fruition.
If you've been in fucking art school, you're gonna have drawn something that you fucking shouldn't have. It always comes down to that. It's like, well, I had this weird teacher and they wanted us to really explore this. You know, it's like, what? So, adult fetus.
Yeah. Don't know that that needed to ever exist.
Hey,
I thought
Brian.
it was great at the time.
Brian's doing these record covers for like album covers for bands. Dude, like that sounds like a metal album right there.
Adult fetus.
That's a fucking metal
Sounds like a
band's name,
band, yeah.
anyways. Fucking A, dude.
I could actually see that working as a death metal cover. Like, now I kind of want to draw it.
Do it. We can compare and contrast.
Well, all right, we're gonna stop recording now. I think. Do you want to say anything else, Brian? You got any draw? We normally end with Brian saying something that just fucking slays. But I don't know if I've set him up for too much now. He's just gonna tell me to go fuck myself.
Now I'm just picturing like the last Neil Gaiman like Sandman illustration where he's curled up in a ball. Not because it's brand new on Netflix, assholes. Look up the artwork. But just that image alone makes me think adult fetus. So like that image is so fucking metal already. Just a few twerks and you've nailed it. No wisdom here tonight, folks. Adult fetus is where we're ending it, I guess.
All right, everyone, that's it for our show today. Thank you for listening. If you would like to learn more about Joanna Comstock's artwork, you can head over to her Instagram profile. It's at Art of the Joannasaurus on Instagram. You can also just check out her name, Joanna, Joanna, Comstock, Comstock. There's a lot of them out there, Joannasauruses specifically. So make sure you type in Art of the Joannasaurus in one word. You can also go to her Redbubble store. It's the Joannasaurus88.redbubble.com. And go buy some prints. Hook her up, get her some cash, show her some love. Next week, we'll have on some fancy people. I'm not going to say too much today, so we'll just leave it at that. And even though I feel like I may be missing something, I'll leave you right now to the rest of your day. Thank you very much for listening. And, oh, that's it. If you haven't left us a review, go do it. Please, we would appreciate it. On Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever your platform of choice is, if you leave us a review, it really helps us out. Let us know how we're doing, and we can go from there. Anyways, I'm done talking. You guys have a great night, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.